Next, we have Sarah Heinz. Sarah is from Chillicothe. Her college and career goals are, well, she's a nursing major, and she will be transferring out of ICC and starting at St. Francis School of Nursing in the fall. Her favorite TED Talk, which is also one of my personal favorites, is Sarah Kay's talk, If I Should Have a Daughter. Welcome.
How can I change the world? That is a question that many of us have often asked ourselves. What if I told you that there's a way for every single person in this room to make a difference in the world on a daily basis? How can we do this? Through kindness. Simple acts of kindness. By definition, kindness is the quality of being generous, helpful, and caring about other people. Now, kindness can come in a number of different forms. It could be something as simple as a smile and a hello to a stranger. This person chose to share kindness by leaving some change on a vending machine to surprise the next person with a free soda. This man is sharing kindness by sharing his umbrella with another lady. This person chose to share kindness by leaving a basket of food and a jacket in a public park for somebody that's in need. After Hurricane Sandy, this family was left with electricity, so they ran an extension cord from their house into the street so that people could charge their phones to let their family and friends know that they were okay. Kindness matters. I believe that we should all incorporate more acts of kindness into our daily lives so that we can all become healthier and happier people. So, why kindness? As I've mentioned, kindness is a way for all of us to change the world. Just think about it. If you did one act of kindness a day, that would be 365 acts of kindness in a year. Now, if we all did an act of kindness, that would be more than 7 billion acts of kindness in just one day. Small acts of kindness can have a huge impact. And if we are all in on it, then we can change the world for the better. Now, kindness clearly has some big picture implications, but it can also benefit us personally. On an emotional level, when we do something kind for somebody else, we feel good about ourselves. And when we feel good about ourselves, we're happier. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to be happy? Now, kindness can also benefit us on a biological level. When we do something kind for somebody else, we're filled with an emotional warmth. And this emotional warmth, in turn, triggers the release of oxytocin. It's a hormone, and it's released throughout the body and the brain. And oxytocin has been shown to reduce the inflammation and free radicals throughout the body, which slows aging at its very source. Oxytocin also triggers the release of nitric oxide throughout the blood vessels, which lowers your blood pressure. So kindness can be said to literally protect your heart. Along with these features, kindness has also been shown to reduce stress, increase the immune system, and overall make us happier people. Sorry, guys. Overall, make us happier people. So, I mean, it's very clear that your daily dose of kindness can do a whole lot for you. Now, in my 20 years, I have given kindness, I have received kindness, I've witnessed other people's acts of kindness, but I've also felt the lack of kindness. Earlier this year, it was in mid-February, I was driving on my way to work, and my car all of a sudden died on me. You know, it was single digits outside, the sun was starting to go down, and I was in a little bit of a panic. I put my car into neutral, and I hoped that I'd be able to make it to the side of the road, but since I was accelerating from a turn, I didn't have enough momentum, and my car came to a stop right in the middle of the road. Fortunately, I was able to get out and push it to the side by myself. I got it halfway off the side, and my sister came and helped me get it all the way off the road. But during this time, you know, at least a dozen cars had gone past me, many of which had to slow down and go around me, but nobody stopped to help. So this got me thinking, you know, why didn't anybody stop and help me? All I needed was just one person to take a minute of their time and help me push my car off the road, but nobody did. So what is it that keeps us from being kind and showing kindness? I have found that a lot of times it's the mindset that many of us have of, you know, it's not my problem or somebody else will do it. But unfortunately, too many people have this same mindset, and in the end, nobody stops and offers to help. You know, we are trained to be individual, independent people in our society, but we can't forget that we are part of a society, and we require, help from one another to properly function. Another thing that I found that keeps people from showing kindness is fear, whether that's fear of how the other person will react, or maybe that's fear of how other people will see you, or quite often it's fear of interacting with strangers, which is a perfectly logical fear. I myself have often struggled to interact with people that I don't know, but we can't let this fear stop us from showing kindness. Instead, we should show kindness to those that we are comfortable with, our family, our friends, our coworkers, our neighbors. Everybody appreciates and deserves kindness. Now, I'd like to share with you a little story from high school when I did receive some kindness. A classmate of mine during our junior year, Laura, started what became known as Flower Fridays. The idea came to her one night right before she fell asleep, and she was just like, I'm going to bring a dozen flowers to school on Friday. And she did just that. She brought a dozen roses to her first hour class, and she noticed a boy in her class whom she had never talked to, but he seemed kind of like he was having a bad day, so she handed him a rose and said it was for him, just to make him smile. And throughout the day, Laura gave the remaining flowers to fellow classmates and teachers, and she just thought it was really neat how she could just make somebody's day with something as simple as a single rose. So she continued Flower Fridays throughout the remainder of her time in high school, and when she graduated, she passed on Flower Fridays to an underclassman so the kindness could continue. I remember one day during my senior year, I was having a rough day, and as I was packing up my backpack to leave for the day, Laura handed me a rose. And looking back now, I can't even remember what it was that caused me to have a rough day. I was probably stressing out about grades or scholarships, things like that. But I do remember that that flower was the exact encouragement that I needed. Now, Flower Fridays is just one example of how we can perform planned acts of kindness. But as I'm sure you are all aware, we can't always plan our acts of kindness. Sometimes we will just see an opportunity for kindness and just act on it. A couple months ago, I was in a Walmart, and I noticed a woman struggling to lift a 12-pack of soda from the bottom shelf and get it into her cart. So I stopped and asked if I could help her. And she gratefully accepted my help and began to explain to me that she had recently had back surgery, which is why she couldn't lift the soda. So this just goes to show that everybody has their own story. We never know what another person is going through, so we never know how much of an impact our act of kindness can have on another person. But one thing we can be sure of is that kindness matters. You are all capable of these acts of kindness. And because of that, you are capable of making yourselves happier and healthier people, and in turn, making the world a better place. Thank you.